Hello everybody, DarkPhoenix Ninja 92 here, and welcome back to Let's Play Tyranny. Last time we left off, I had successfully ended the Edict of Storms, and we had made our way to Lethian's Crossing to look into matters here, and help out the Forge-bound and protect them and stuff for the disfavored. But the Bronze Brotherhood here are being a bunch of assholes and refuse to let me pass. So, I have made the determination that they are in open rebellion, essentially, against the Overlord. So, if you're looking for trouble, here it is. I knew you couldn't be trusted, cad. The forces of Kairos will always show their true faces if pushed. Ratomon retreats, calling his men as he runs. Guards, we have a snake in our midst. 2 arms! Well, it's time for the lot of you to die. Fucking hell, and that summons another 2 of them. Not that I'm overly surprised.
I'm not entirely useless.
Murder their fucking asses, please. I said murder their fucking asses.
I'll do it for the North.
Tiberius, keep at him. We'll heal you if you need it. I'm hoping that doesn't end up being the case, though.
I'm on it.
Damn it, Barrack, what are you doing disengaging like that? Well, that's a good chunk of them down, but Tiberius, you need to take a potion. Better safe than sorry, right? Now do your flurry of blows attack, or 100 fists even on that guy, while Barrack can launch a breaking wall at him over here. And he can also be hurled into the ground by Eb's Taratus' call, and then shot with lightning.
You cannot win.
Lantry, please do not die. It's enough of a pain to lose ordinary members of my group. Losing my healer would be a pain like no other. I could deal with it, but I would rather not have to.
Pay attention, kids.
If you don't mind. That's one of them down. We have Will here, who I'm fighting now. And it's surprisingly going our way quite a bit. Thanks for the heals, Lantry. Tiberius, 100 fists him, please. Oh, beat to it, I see. Addendum added, blades of iron. We killed the Bronze Brotherhood guarding it, so we can move on, but I want to kill all of them first. And there's another couple up there who need a bit of of death to be presented to them. Once again, I'm gonna try to be a little strategic about it.
Yes.
Send me your champion.
A lot of you just back off until he gets down here, please. Okay, now it's open season. I mean, I could probably have taken all three of them, but I don't have to, so I'd rather not. I'd have to mess around with that whole thing.
Right.
Nuh-uh.
Now kindly make him very, very dead for me. Tiberius, you go.
On it.
There we go.
On it.
That's another of them taken out. And this is almost certainly going to go badly. Or maybe not, it's only raiders after all. And we will split up as I usually do. Send Tiberius after one and Barrack after the other. And the rest of our people can take support duty.
Right.
As you wish.
Support duty is, of course, being code for murder them from a distance.
That's a negative. This weapon is like nipples on men. Useless.
Oh, I do like Eb, but she has some hilarious dialogue in battle. I mean, this weapon is like nipples on men, I have to say. That's one of the funniest comments I've seen as battle dialogue in a game for a very long time.
Yes.
But anyways, that's those idiots from the Bronze Brotherhood dealt with. Time for us to move on. Lethian's crossing awaits, after all. Or does it? I'll explore a little up here just because I can.
Huh.
And find something. Lots of healing potions and some Azure Bell and some camping supplies. You've reached the max number of camping supplies. Well, it's something to come back for later, I suppose. And now, let's head for Lethian's Crossing. Encounter in Lethian's Crossing. An uneventful day on the road is interrupted by a loud cry. An old man, dirt-encrusted and wild-eyed, dressed in little more than tattered rags, emerges from the brush, charging feebly towards you with a sword held high. For Apex! His sandals catch a tree root, sending him tumbling into the dirt. His brittle blade strikes the ground first, snapping in two. He clutches his ribs and whispers a low groan, laying on the ground for an uncomfortably long time. His moans give way to rhythmic, heavy breathing. Just as you step forward and determine if the old man has fallen asleep, he picks himself up, wagging the useless blade at you. The day is ours, dogs of Kairos. Really? Really? He continues to ramble, and it soon becomes clear he believes himself late for the first battle of Apex. He is correct, in a sense. The battle was waged over 2 years ago, and blissfully unaware of his kinsman's failure, demands your surrender before generously offering to settle for a mere ransom. Well, he is an imbecile, but he may yet have a bit of use, and making the voices of Nerat even more paranoid could be helpful to us in attempting to undermine them, as we're trying to do, since to Tiberius' eyes they are traitors. They did feed stalwart, disfavored battle plans during the war, after all, which to him equates to treason. So we will convince this mad old lunatic to wage war against the voices of Nerat. You wait for the old soldier to finish his lengthy tirade before speaking. As he calms, you assure him that your interests in Apex are one and the same, insisting the true aggressor is a shared enemy, the rogue Archon. At the mention of the voices of Nerat, the old man's eyes fill with promise of glory, and it's all too easy to persuade him to take the fight directly to the Archon's stronghold. You promise him the backing of 1,000 tiersmen and point him towards Cacophony, helpfully drawing him a crude map. He sets off on the road, broken blade in hand, the Archon's dusty fortress, where hundreds of battle-hardened chorus soldiers await him. We gain a bit of wrath with them, and hopefully that will make the voices of Nerat just that little bit more paranoid. After all, the more paranoid he is, the more he'll be jumping at shadows, and the easier it will just be for us to screw with his plans. And I do so love screwing with the voices of Nerat. He's an arrogant, self-righteous asshole. Not that I'm particularly fond of the disfavored either, because they are, as I've expressed previously, self-important, elitist jackasses. And between the two of them, I would still pick the disfavored every time, even if they are also assholes. They're less likely to throw men away on a pointless battle. Oh, so yeah. What's up with this merchant, anyways? As you approach the entrance, you see two figures talking intently with each other. The one points north as she talks. I don't know if we can afford to stay here. The region is too unstable and our business is suffering because of it. And if I have to pay one more toll, or hand over more guard money, I won't have 2 rings to rub together. But where will we go? There isn't a single place in the tiers that's safe. Maybe we could go to Sentinel Stand Keep. Rumor is the storms there have died down. How about ... Fatebinder. You grace us with your presence. She bows, then smacks her assistant on the back of the head. After a moment, the young man bows too. Who are you, then? I don't think I've seen you before. Me? Oh, Fatebinder, I'm simply a humble merchant, and certainly no one of consequence. Certainly of no consequence, even. My assistant and I were just trying to determine where we should go next. Conducting business in Lethian's crossing has become a little too volatile for my liking. Well, there is something I would like to inquire about, and you seem like you know a bit about the world, so perhaps you could help me. You see this seal? I found it in Vendrian's well, and I was wondering if you knew anything about it. I don't recognize it, but one of the other merchants here might. Between us all, there has to be someone who has seen it in their travels. Well, thanks anyways, but what seems to be the issue here? You mentioned the region being too volatile? Other than my desire to leave this town before its leaders cause it to collapse in on itself? Well, Fatebinder, I'm not one to speak ill of Kairos' men, but the disfavored currently control Lethian's crossing, and I'm not sure they're entirely qualified for the job. They keep a very stern watch over everything. No one I know is happy having them around. Now, I wouldn't normally say it, but I'd wager my last ring the Scarlet Chorus might even be better. I disagree. The Scarlet Chorus would probably conscript them all, and just make every single member of the population of the town into a member of the chorus. And that would be the end of it. I don't see that as being better, honestly. If you're certain you need to deal with them, the current disfavored leader in town is Vintara. She leans in, lowering her voice. However, if you need to speak to someone, I suggest you find Eldian. He's the true leader of this town, fair, knowledgeable, and very level-headed. Well, he sounds like my kind of guy, and we're certainly not the type of person who does everything the disfavored want, even if we prefer them to the chorus. Both of them can be found over there. She points to the east beyond the river. Vintara likes being outside so she can maintain control of everything that's happening. Eldion is probably in his house, near where Vintara's stomping around. What else can you tell me about Lethian's crossing? I mean, I've been here before, but it's been a couple years, so a refresher course might be handy. What is there to say? Lethian's crossing was just coming to its own, the center of commerce for the tiers, frequented by merchants from all over. She sighs and looks around. With the recent unpleasant event, trade has all but dried up around here. We're lucky to get any business at all. The new toll being enforced on the road to town, it's a wonder anyone comes here anymore. If by the toll you mean from the Bronze Brotherhood, you shouldn't have to worry about that anymore. They're suffering from a mild case of death. But thank you for your time. My pleasure. Good luck in your endeavors, and may you always have a ring within reach. But yeah, the Bronze Brotherhood are suffering from a mild case of death at the moment, so you shouldn't have to worry about them. But our current objective is basically to take everything that's not nailed down. And as you can see, full up with this favorite. Earthshakers even. They're local mages. What's up with these two? And you know the law. These products are contraband. We're not allowed to bring them into or sell them in Lethian's crossing. Fatebinder, your assistant, please. I need your help before this brute takes my belongings. Okay, what's the issue? It's robbery. That's the issue here. This soldier stopped me and is going to confiscate my goods. I need you to adjudicate. You know this situation is not that simple, Lauren. If you wish to petition for adjudication, I will present my case to the Fatebinder. Well, I am an enforcer of the Archon of Justice. Once it has been invoked, my ruling is final, and there's no recourse in this matter. I'm obligated to ask, are you absolutely certain that this is what you want? I will abide by your decision, Fatebinder. Well, what is your grievance, sir? We merely wish to sell these items here in town. The goods themselves are not against the law, and there is nothing wrong with them, but Alice is trying to confiscate them. I see. Alice, why are you threatening to confiscate these man's goods, if, as he says, they are not in themselves illegal? He is attempting to bring goods obtained from illegal sources. We do not allow chorus-bought products to be sold in Lethian's crossing. This policy is well known. He should not be surprised that we are taking his goods. You are attempting to sell goods from an illegal supplier, are you? Where we got them is of no consequence. The goods themselves are not illegal, and are needed in Lethian's crossing. The petty feud between the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus has no bearing in this transaction. Well, the goods themselves don't appear to be illegal. Why would you confiscate them just because of where they come from? Purchase and sale of items from both the Bronze Brotherhood and Scarlet Chorus are illegal. The law is the law. Just because someone doesn't agree with the law doesn't mean they can ignore it. Well, while we could ask for a bribe, Tiberius is not that sort of person. We do not take bribes to change justice to fit a person's viewpoint. So, very well then. I am ready to make my decision. Do either of you have any final statements to make? These goods can benefit the people of Lethian's Crossing. It will be a waste to destroy them. We should be allowed to sell them here. When goods were obtained through illegal means, they should be confiscated. They are breaking the law. Everything else is irrelevant. Okay, then. We have three options here. We can let him take the goods and sell them, let the goods be taken, or let the goods be distributed for free. And I think we're going to let the goods be distributed for free, because from Tiberius's point of view, while the merchant may be breaking a disfavored ruling by selling them, that doesn't mean the entire population of this town should suffer for it. The merchant should, however, be punished for his foolishness. That punishment will be not being able to make a profit off of his goods. So, the goods will not be confiscated, but will instead be distributed to the townsfolk for free. But Fatebinder, how can this be? We agreed to stand by the decision, Laurent, and so we shall. The Fatebinder has spoken. Move along. It is a shame that such blatant disregard of the law is allowed. I swore to stand by your ruling. So be it, Fatebinder. And we gained a little bit of wrath with the disfavored, because apparently they don't like us giving away stolen goods for free. They're not being sold. They're being given away for free. I'm not seeing the issue here. Apparently the disfavored have morons amongst their leadership. As how else would they justify such a thing, if not for the fact that they are imbeciles? It's the only logical way that could work, if they're idiots. And right now I'm engaged in what I like to call Operation Loot Everything That Isn't Nailed Down. Apparently the disfavored don't mind. Addendum Seals of Power. Seals of Power, even. Passage has been sealed by the old... sealed for the time being. We cannot reach the old walls at the moment. That will have to wait, then. A bit of looty McLoot. I'm in the middle of taking care of right now. Take everything I can. Or some camping supplies, which I don't have the ability to use. Actually, scratch that. I'm going to use one for several reasons. To get rid of my injuries, as well as to be able to pick up that camping supply. now we have a message from Regalis, who's probably going to be all pissy at us because we spared Amelia's child with the Edict of Storms. Oh well. I don't really care what he thinks. He may be a fellow Fatebinder, but if he's going to be as much of an asshole as I suspect, we will not be giving a damn. I'm also going to finish up with looting everything before we move on to the actual story by seeking out any of these characters. And I'm going to read this missive, even though I expect we're going to get yelled at or lectured for being too merciful or something.
Sorry.
Or not totally following the philosophy of a minor evil for a greater good, or killing someone because they might be a threat in future. Your hairpin? Wow, Ebb. Wow. Glad to see she has her priorities in order. A hairpin, clearly the most important thing there ever was, or ever will be.
Got it.
Investigate some item by bringing it to a blacksmith at a forge upgrade. I have a few items like that I need to do. We will see. And now there is one more item that needs investigation. So we'll get that, and then read this missive and actually go around talking to people. Come look at your wares. Yeah, we have a couple of merchants around. Now, power. Visit the fort. First, here's the Moonrise District, blah blah blah. Disfavored. We have a tiny bit of wrath as well as a titanic amount of favor. Missives on the subject of spires from Mythos. Based on what you've told me, it seems a stretch to believe these events are mere coincidence or circumstance. Edict of Execution was set up for someone to claim Ascension Hall. To think Kairos did not know what would happen is a massive underestimation of the Overlord's long view. You have been thrust into the arena of the mighty. Your options are retreat, suicide, or rising to the occasion. I suggest the third option. If I were you, I would use my connection to the spires to see if they will all awaken to my presence. Every Tearsman sees the spires on the horizon. If they know you are the master of the spires, they'll see you every time they look up at the sunrise or sunset. Foster a reputation for power and make others fear you. This is what I've seen Kairos and every living Archon do for as long as I've lived. And there's a reason for this. There's the practical case that power and a reputation insulate you from threats. There's the lesser known element that I can't prove but know in my heart to be true. Fear and love of others will strengthen your magic. Huh, that's very interesting. Last part I've inferred from my discussions with Blade and Mark. And the few times he has spoken of his gruesome work of slaying those who might rise to threaten the Overlord, he has hinted that it's easier to kill the rogue elements before they become famed and fearsome. In my lifetime, I saw Graven Ash change from an unknown militiaman to a fearsome general. And I can assure you, he did not have the power to shield his warriors in those days when he was without title or reputation. The Archons will never, ever discuss the origins of their power. because such knowledge might be used against them. But I have known all the Archons to be obsessed with the presentation of power. Your connection to the spires will all but guarantee the Archons will want to control and destroy you. Question of when, not if. Start thinking and acting like an Archon. As far as I'm concerned, you are an Archon. The Archon of the Spires. We are quick to place labels on powers we easily spot, and history is replete with Archons of fire and ice. It's foolish to think that there must be a word for a thing before an Archon can control it. Other way around. The Archons show us what is possible, and we must step to their dance. Interesting. And we will ask about how the Archons have risen to power. I appreciate the insight and am honored by the vote of confidence. You must have made mention of Graven Ash and how you've known him since before he wore the title of Archon of War. Can you tell me more of what you observed of his rise to power? If I am indeed an Archon, it's safe to say I wasn't born knowing what I am, or knowing what I can or can't do, even. Don't know where I got am from out of that. And it stands to reason I might learn something from the stories of the other Archons. We'll send it. Now, what's Regalis gonna bitch at? Dear Fatebinder Tiberius, you display curious empathy for those who name you enemy. I sincerely hope history remembers it as one of your critical strengths rather than your most dire weaknesses. Remember always that the Overlord favors efficacy over empathy. Rare is the Fatebinder who delivers both. Well, I stand corrected. He didn't bitch at me. He's just basically going, I hope your empathy doesn't come back to screw you. I also hope so. Okay, welcome, blah blah blah. Can you tell me anything about the seal? Ask someone else, basically. Let's go around and talk to people. I'm looking for something now. Can't say I recognize it, don't get it. Harkad Bronze might recognize it, eh? Well, let's have a word with them then. Best merchant Lethian. You are the Fatebinder. I would recognize you anywhere, and with a list of deeds as long as yours, I'd be surprised if there was anyone left in the Tiers who didn't. You ended the Edict of Storms at Sentinel's Stand Keep, didn't you? That's a tale people will be telling for years to come. I've been a merchant for more years than I care to think, and in all that time, I've never heard people tell stories about someone like they do about you. Oh dear. Well,